Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Archives in Motion. My name is Sean P. I'm your host of Archives in Motion, and I'm here to talk about a Disney Plus series, Star Wars series called The Acolyte. Many YouTubers have broken this series down. Many YouTubers such as Star Wars Theory, Star Wars Meg, and Generation Tech, all of whom I subscribe to. I just recently completed the series, and it's not as bad as what many people say it is. It's not as good either. It's not that good, but it's not that bad. I didn't believe Kenobi was bad. I still need to watch The Skeleton Crew, which I heard very good things about. Now, The Acolyte is not Andor. Andor is phenomenal. It's coming out with another series, and it will end at that series for Andor, as well as I believe Ahsoka's probably only going to be two seasons as well, maybe three, but I don't believe it needs to go past 2 or 3. Ahsoka. I'm not sure about The Skeleton Crew. I need to sit and watch that. I may binge it on Friday. I may. Look, this series is pretty much about good and evil, which is what Star Wars is about anyway. However, it does beg the question of what is good and what is evil. It asks that question. Matter of fact, there is a scene in The Acolyte where I'm pronouncing her name incorrectly, Mother Anise, I believe is her name, the leader witch on Braddock, and there are spoilers here, so beware. She says, someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy. If that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is. Like I asked before, what exactly is good and evil, though? You do understand that a sociopath believes what they are doing is good. Let me give you an example. Omar Little and The Wire. Many of you may not have seen The Wire. Well, Omar Little, he would rob drug dealers, and he would take their drugs and take their money, sometimes take their lives, and he would give the money. He would keep the money for himself, and stash it for he called himself stashing it for his retirement. And he would take the drugs and give the drugs away for free, the heroin. He felt like what he was doing was good, but it wasn't. He was giving drugs to poison to people. Yes, for free, but he was giving it to people. And he was destroying lives. He was killing people. So he was a sociopath. You know who else was a sociopath? Robin Hood. Somebody that most of you will know. Robin Hood was a sociopath. Rob from the rich, give to the poor. Well, what he was doing was robbing the people that were in charge of the land. It was against the law. Yes, okay, we root for Robin Hood. Oh, he's stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. But was it good to do? No, but he believed it was. He was a sociopath. That was a bit of a rabbit hole. I know. But I just wanted to give you a basis, because I believe that Saul in this story is a sociopath. He was just plain naive. He was extremely naive. he meant well. He meant well. He truly did mean well. Like in the black community, we like to say, man, bless his heart. I mean, God bless his heart. He meant well, but he was naive. And excuse me, let me correct myself. He was not a sociopath. I said he was a sociopath. He was not. He was just naive. He was naive. I apologize about that. Did not mean to put that type of smut on his name, but he was naive. And a part of me wants to say that Saul was a PDF because he was obsessed with OSHA. He was obsessed with her. I will not go there, but it's a part of me that wants to say that, but I won't go there. But he was obsessed with OSHA. He definitely was. When we watch the original trilogy, we see the evil side and the good side. We clearly see that. And the term Sith was never used in the original trilogy. Wasn't used until the Phantom Menace came along and did that trilogy, the prequel trilogy. That's when it was used. But the good and the evil was definitely broken down. You knew who was good and you knew who was evil. They didn't really explain to you why they were. That was later explained in the prequel trilogy, but you knew who was good and who was evil. Now, this is also about power and who's allowed to wield it. When Saul saw the twins using the Force, he was in awe. He was in awe. He couldn't believe that these children were using the Force without the teachings of the Jedi. And you saw in his face, like, hold up, how are they able to do this without our teaching? So that arrogance creeps in, like we should be the ones teaching them how to use this. When he follows the girls, he tracks the girls through the wilderness and up a mountain. I mean, he literally climbs a mountain. He literally climbs a mountain. If that's not obsession, I don't know what is. I was mesmerized by this. I'm like, what's wrong with them knowing how to do this? They weren't hurting anybody. He saw the witch clan. The witch clan was way out on the outer rim. In the outer rim. They were like, But once again, that Jedi arrogance, he said, you can't use the Force. You can't do this. So he comes up and says, I want them to be my Padawans. I want to teach them. He wants to rip the children away from their family. Which is like, okay, is that a good thing? Now, hundreds of years later, the Sith were trying to do this as well, Palpatine, but the Jedi have been doing this for years. So, one could say the Jedi were evil. One could say they were a bunch of sociopaths. They were telling these people like what to do. They were saying, we can do this, but you can't. Telling people how to raise their families. What's the first thing some people say? Don't tell me how to raise my child. Don't tell me how to raise my child. That's the first thing a lot of people say. I stay out of that. I don't tell people how to raise their children. Nah, I have my own. That's what we do. Because it's hypocrisy at its finest. It's hypocrisy at its finest. It's funny because you could look at this from, like I said, a certain point of view. To quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, I've been quoting Obi-Wan Kenobi here. Let's look at it from a certain point of view. Take Rafa Martez, for example. Her and her sister Trace, they They live in the 1313 district of Coruscant in the underworld. The Jedi are chasing Zero the Hutt because they're trying to blow up the Senate. It's a prison escape. They're trying to blow up the Senate. All this and that. The Martez sisters, their parents were killed by a transport that the Jedi were using. They were killed. The Jedi did not purposely kill their parents, but the Martez sisters didn't see it that way. They saw it from a certain point of view. Think about it. They saw it as you would, in this war, import this war to our house. We weren't a part of the war. Our parents died, and you don't give us any help to survive. We have to scrape and scratch to survive. Trace as a mechanic, and Rafa running a laundromat, which she did some laundering and stuff like that. And who could blame her? Who could blame him? Who could blame her? And she was very protective of her sister because that's all they had. And the Jedi didn't help them, didn't give them some money, give them any money to help them survive. So they felt a certain type of way towards the Jedi. I can't really blame them for feeling that way. Which is the way the witches on Braddock, on Brindok, the planet they were on, saw the Jedi. The Jedi were arrogant, self-righteous, and downright selfish not to even want to understand this. You're coming to their planet, want to take their children, and then just leave. Then tell them that you have the right to do it. I mean, if that's not downright colonialism, I don't know what is. You see, Saul didn't even try to understand Osha, May, or the witches. The Jedi didn't either. He just wanted what he wanted. He wanted Osha to be his Padawan. Which got him killed and framed in the end. He was killed and framed in the end. Osha killed him. The Jedi were so wrapped up in their spiritual ideology where they were no worldly good. They use that term in the church today. They don't use it exactly like that, but they're saying you're so holy that you're no worldly good. And that was one of the issues early on with the Hebrews before Jesus and everything. But we're not going to get into that. But you're not going to go down that rabbit hole. You do understand what I'm saying? The Jedi was just so stuck in their ways, where there's just no worldly good, which is one of the reasons why they ended up being killed off, because they were stuck in their own arrogant ways where they didn't even see or feel that Sith Lord that was right in front of them. And that's how Palpatine outsmarted them. They were no worldly good. That is something that Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee figured out years later after the Acolyte. Now, they didn't figure out about the Palpatine thing, but they figured out that there was something not right with the Jedi. Barriss figured it out, but she went about things the incorrect way. And Ahsoka figured it out when she was framed by Barriss and running around trying to prove her innocence, and finally proved her innocence. And they wanted her to come back. They said, I can't be a part of an organization that didn't even want to hear me out. Didn't even give me a chance. Didn't even see it from my point of view. Well, thank you for listening. And please comment, like the video, subscribe, and please fact check, because I believe I may have was getting Osha and May mixed up, because they were called twins, but they actually were not twins. They were actually the same person. They had a virgin, so they were the same person, but they were split somehow. Somehow you have to check out. I gave you enough spoilers and everything. Check out the Acolyte if you feel inclined to do so. So like the video, share the video, subscribe to the video. Well, subscribe to the channel. And thank you for listening, because if you listen to this whole thing, that means you like the video.